front, and that would give you 3 times 2, which would give you that 6 that you need. Okay, here we go. Next problem. Says, let me go back to it. It says 1 0 of a polynomial is given. Find all the other zeros, and it gives you x to the fourth minus 2x to the third. If you wanted to graph this, pretty much is what it's saying. F of x equals this. 1 0 is given. Find the rest of them. It says 0 1 of multiplicity 2. What that means is 1 is an answer twice. Okay, that's what it means of multiplicity 2. 1 is a 0 twice. 1 is a x-intercept twice. However you want to say it. So pretty much, want to find the other 2. Since they're giving you 1, it makes it easy. We know 1's going to work. You could do a whole list. We could do possible zeros would be plus and minus 1, plus and minus 2, plus and minus 4, but they give it to you. So 1, no, the actual 0 is 1. So x minus 1 would be the factor, so 1's the 0. 1, negative 2, 5, does that make sense? Okay. So if you try 1 and it doesn't work, something's wrong. Bring down 1, what should not work? 4, negative 4, negative 4, 0. And this is where I would use the ladder because you know 1's going to work again. So we broke it down to x to the third stuff now, so bring it down. 0, 4, 4, 0. Any questions so far? So, like we were saying with Christina, 1 was a 0, x minus 1's a factor here, x minus 1's a factor here, and what are you left with down here? So what you've done is you broke this down into x minus 1 times x minus 1 times x squared plus 4. So it'll be an imaginary. So we have 2 of the zeros, which you don't have to give them. It says find the other zeros. So the way you do that, set this equal to 0 and solve it. Easy way, since we're missing a b term, move your 4 over, square root both sides. Right? X squared plus 4 is 0. X squared is negative 4. X equals plus and minus the square root of negative 4, which we talked about that yesterday. That's the square root of 4 times the square root of negative 1, which would be 2i. Plus and minus, yeah. There's your other 2 roots. Okay, example 2b. Same thing, says 1 0 the polynomial is given, find all the other zeros. This is probably the only one that's going to give you much trouble. Watch how this works. X to the fourth minus 4x to the third. Plus 6x squared minus 4x minus 4x plus 5. And 1 0 is given, and it is 2 minus I. But that's really 2 zeros. Because you know if 2 minus I is a 0, then you know 2 plus I is going to be also. So you got 2 plus and minus I. How many total zeros do you have in this one? 4. X to the fourth. Let me show you how I do this. This might not be the way that they do it. There's 2 different ways to do it. You could actually, and this is the hard way first, you might not want to write this down. If 2 plus I and 2 minus I are zeros, then we know that x minus 2 plus I and x minus 2 minus I would be factors. You can multiply that out like we did before, and you're going to get x squared stuff. You could do x squared stuff divided into this. The only trouble is if you're dividing x squared into that, you have to use long division. Synthetic division only works for linear. But let me show you this. If you can get used to what I'm about to show you, you won't have to worry about it. What about this? If 3 was a 0, synthetic division, what would you put in the box? 3. Because x minus 3 would be the factor, you would put 3. The 0 is actually what you put in the box. But we have a 0 of 2 plus I, so can we put 2 plus I in the box? Sure. 1, negative 4, 6, negative 4, 5. It requires a little bit of algebra, but y'all can do this. It's not bad. Bring down 1, multiply it, what do you get? 2 plus I. Add those, what do you get? Negative 2 plus I. You just combine like terms. Here's where it starts getting a little bit ugly. We've got to full that out. This way is probably easier though than the other way, really. Full that out, you've got 2 plus I times negative 2 plus I, which would be negative 4, well, let me wait before I do that. Negative 4 minus 2i plus 2i cancel each other, so I and I plus I squared. What is that? Negative 5. 6 and negative 5 is 1, because this is minus 1. Negative 4 plus negative 4. Multiply it, you get 2 plus I. You get negative 2 plus I. When you multiply that, luckily I've already done it, you get negative 5, and it is a 0. Yeah. Any questions? Negative. That would be upper bound. Yeah. No, lower bound. Lower bound was positive, negative, positive, negative. But we also know 2 minus I is a factor, so let's do it again. This I think will be easier. Bring down the 1, multiply, what do you get? 2 minus I. Add that, what do you get? 0. Multiply, you get 0. Bring it down, you get a 1. Multiply it, you get 2 minus I, which gives you a 0 remainder. Yeah. So we've split it up into actually x minus 2 plus I is a factor, x minus 2 minus I. We already knew about those, but what do we have left? X squared plus 1. Yeah, all 4 of them. So move the 1 over, you get x squared equals negative 1. X equals plus and minus the square root of negative 1. What is the square root of negative 1? Plus and minus I. So you do have all imaginary roots. So 2 plus I is a root, 2 minus I, and negative I are all your roots for that polynomial.